Welcome to the X Global News channel. Let's move on to the news. In December, the armed forces of the Russian Federation staged another massive rocket attack on Ukraine. In addition to hits in power plants and distribution substations, hits in residential buildings, there was a hit in the Dnieper hydroelectric dam in Zaporizhzhia. According to information that we cannot fully confirm, there was a hit in the dam in Kremenchuk. On September 18th, they talked about the plans of the Russian command to consistently destroy and damage 3 dams on the Dnieper. In Kremenchuk, Kamenskoye and Dneprogs in Zaporizhzhia. The plan was to destroy the Kremenchuk dam. It is higher than all the others along the Dnieper River. Damage dams in Kamenskoye and Zaporizhzhia, so that they collapsed one after another, unable to withstand a water hammer. The implementation of the plan was postponed twice. In many ways, because all attempts to get into the dams with X-101 missiles ended with the fact that the missiles were shot down by the Ukrainian air defense or simply went away from the targets. Russian rocket scientists managed to achieve 2 hits near them, but they could not hit the dams themselves. The plan was put on the shelf. All the dams on the Dnieper were securely covered. None of the missiles fired at them simply did not reach. The situation in the theater of operations has changed, so the plan was not abandoned, but it was postponed for later. The dams themselves have not appeared in the lists of targets since mid-November, says an officer of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. On December 16, the Dneprogs dam still arrived. A rocket, or 2 missiles, hit the engine room. As far as we know, the structure of the dam itself did not receive significant damage. There is no threat of a breakthrough even close. But there is a hit in the dam. This led to heated discussions about returning to the plan in Moscow. The target of the missiles was not the dam itself. To destroy it, you need significantly more hits. But we were surprised when we found out that we had hit the dam. Either the air defense was transferred from there to protect other objects, or something didn't work for them there, but they finally got there when they weren't aiming already. There was talk of a plan again. It was adjusted for new tasks. The shelling of objects in the Kyiv region on December 19 is part of these tasks. Checking the state of the enemy's air defense and the quality of our target identification system, explains a source in the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. According to this and other military, the destruction of dams and flooding of territories on the left bank of the Dnieper River from Kremenchuk to the Kakhovskaya HPP will slow down the possible offensive of the AFU on Melitopol and, more importantly for the armed forces of the Russian Federation, will make it difficult to transfer reserves from east to west of Ukraine. Russian generals are planning winter offensives in 3 directions. 2 of them are in the east of Ukraine. These are Bakhmut-Slavyansk and, presumably, Kharkiv. They plan to attack with large forces in order to gather the maximum number of Ukrainian reserves located in the center and in the west of the country. After that, according to sources, an offensive will begin from the territory of Belarus to Lutsk-Lviv. In this direction, we need to win 3 to 5 days so that the APU could not transfer large forces to deter the strike. The Ukrainian army uses highways to transfer troops. The flooding of the Dnieper from Kremenchuk will leave only Cherkasy, where the road network for military tasks is not the most convenient, and the Kyiv region for the transfer of troops from east to west. This is a limited space on which it will be possible to launch massive missile strikes, achieving maximum losses, says an officer of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian military is skeptical about these plans of the Russians. In the coming weeks, Ukraine's air defense can be significantly strengthened due to new European and American supplies. Then the areas needed by the APU will be reliably covered. The flooding of the Dnieper, according to Ukrainian officers, will not disrupt the transfer of troops to the west, but it may slow it down. Russian officers also say that plans on paper, as is often the case, can fail in practice. Both because of the accuracy of missile strikes, and because of the work of the Ukrainian air defense and the number of missiles in the armed forces of the Russian Federation. Compared to September, there were more missiles due to the removal from storage, production and refinement of old missiles. Let's move on to international news. News from Estonia. Estonia has become the only country that gives Ukraine more than 1% of GDP. Estonia spends more than 1% of GDP on assistance to Ukraine. This is the only indicator in the world. The calculation was carried out by the German statistical company Statista. Thus, Estonia donates 1% of GDP to Ukraine, Latvia, 0.93%, and Poland gives 0.5%. Lithuania, Norway, the United Kingdom, the Czech Republic, Canada and the United States are also among the top 10 sponsors of the Kiev regime. News from Germany. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, in an interview with the German newspaper Bild am Sonntag, spoke out against a ceasefire in Ukraine and the Donbass on Russia's terms. According to Baerbock, such an option of ending the Ukrainian conflict would not put an end to the horror for the people of Ukraine, but on the contrary. She also said that she had no hope for an early ceasefire in the region. To do this, according to her, Russian President Vladimir Putin needs only to give his soldiers an order to retreat. But there are no such signs, as Baerbock noted. News from London. London will supply Kiev with hundreds of thousands of ammunition in 2023. In 2023, the UK will hand over several 100,000 cannon ammunition to the Ukrainian military. This is reported in a statement issued on Sunday morning by the office of British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. London has signed a contract worth £250 million, $304 million, which will ensure an uninterrupted flow of artillery ammunition to Ukraine next year. During this year, the British government handed over more than 100,000 artillery ammunition to the Kiev authorities. News from Moldova. The head of the Moldovan Security Council, Alexander Mustats, believes that Russia is preparing a plan to attack his country in 2023. According to him, the implementation of this plan depends on the development of the military conflict in Ukraine. He did not provide evidence of an impending attack. The question is not whether the Russian Federation will invade the territory of the Republic of Moldova, but when it will happen, either at the beginning of the year, in January-February, or later, in March-April. But, judging by the information we have, the Russian Federation intends to do this, Mustat said in an interview with TVR Moldova. The head of the Moldovan Security Council believes that Russia will invade his country through the territory of Transnistria. According to him, Europe's largest ammunition depot in the Moldovan village of Kolbasna will be used for the attack. 20,000 tons of ammunition are stored there. News from the USA. The United States can allocate another $44.9 billion to Ukraine. A bill on the budget for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $1.7 trillion has been submitted to the U.S. Congress. It assumes the allocation of $44.9 billion of aid to Ukraine and NATO allies, which will be a record amount, according to Reuters. Senators are in a hurry to pass the bill and send it to President Joe Biden for signature by the end of the week to prevent a shutdown. The project could not be agreed upon because Democrats and Republicans were arguing about how much money should be spent on military and non-military programs. In fiscal year 2022, $1.5 trillion were included in the draft American budget. Kiev has also reached an agreement with Elon Musk's SpaceX company to provide him with several thousand antennas for the Starlink satellite internet, Bloomberg reports, citing the words of the Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine Mikhail Fedorov. More than 10,000 devices will arrive in Ukraine in the coming months. According to the Ukrainian official, he personally spoke with the founder of SpaceX. Musk assured us that he will continue to support Ukraine. When the blackout happened, I contacted him and he immediately reacted by taking some steps. He understands the situation, Fedorov said. This is the end of the news release. Put a like if you liked the issue. Write your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to continue following our news. See you.